Hello, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. Uh, Welcome to our channel's very first ever Just Dolan video. I was going to try and convince Lucas and Sharna to do a video together, but I forgot to bring it up, so that's just not a thing that's happening. So instead, I thought we could celebrate Valentine's Day together. So I'm coming to you fucking live. I'm going to be playing Trick and Treat, the visual novel. I was trying to find a quick dating sim. I couldn't really on such short notice. This is being recorded the day before. I don't care about dating this video. This is February 13th. I had this in my library already. I haven't played it before. I figured, why not? Who cares, right? Why not? Why not just play it? So this is just what we're doing because I just want to. So without further ado, let's begin. We'll go on a sensual journey together. Actually, that's kind of loud. Give me a moment. Alright, so without further ado, let us begin. I know nothing about this game, by the way, just so you guys are aware. I'm not in the know on anything. I know that I'm walking through a forest, I guess. The sound of our steps combined with that of the occasional nocturnal animal is the only thing we can hear. It's terribly dark in this place. The dense vegetation makes it impossible to see the sky or light from the moon. Our flashlights are the only things that light up our way. At times like this, one begs not to run out of battery. We walk without knowing what we are really looking for, or better said, for no reason. We are just a group of boys bored with our lives. Wow, that is not what I expected the next sentence to say. Trying to create a lasting memory on this night instead of just staying at home doing nothing. Today is October 31st, All Hallows Eve, better known as Halloween. 3 young men walk through a dark, but up until now, nothing special forest, me being one of them. I don't think that grammar is a strong suit for this game. I would not have written that sentence that way, but that's just me. We are doing it to prove our courage. It's too bad there isn't a girl here to see how brave we are. Yes, of course. Seeing it like that, one could say this is a meaningless effort. Maybe I did pick the right genre of game with a line like that. For a moment, I stopped to look at my watch. It's 1:49 a.m. Actually, it's 5:24 p.m. That means we've been walking aimlessly for more than 2 hours now. Just, test of courage, am I right? I am sure that many people will find a place like this terrifying, but once you get used to it, the fear disappears, making it feel like normal. I don't know about that. I think I'd be fucking terrified walking through a dark forest with that much fog. But, I mean, that's just me. Call me a pussy if you want. What makes us afraid of the dark is that we cannot know what hides in it, what lurks in the shadows. But this is clearly an empty darkness. At that moment, I sigh, feeling how tired my legs are. What is the point of being here? Clearly, we had already demonstrated what we wanted. It would be best to return. I should tell them. I was about to speak when suddenly the atmosphere in the forest became strange. Almost like some weird fog that just envelops me, I guess. Suddenly a cold chill runs through my body. It was like any other chill, except it was not going away. That's such a good description. Thank you. for no reason, the air's temperature dropped from 1 second to the other. So much so, my breath becomes visible, turning into mist. Dear Christ, what have I gotten myself into? It doesn't end there. The air is now filled with a rotten smell, just a little short from being unbearable. Images of worms and flies soon appear in my mind, giving me a really unpleasant feeling. We all stop at that very moment. Axel! What's happening? I ask, confused, while turning to look at my friends. Oh, I'm Axel? Never mind that voice then. By the expression on their faces, it was easy to know that they were just as lost as I was. It was then that we heard footsteps nearby that did not come from any of us. Because, as I said, we were standing still. We all got dead quiet after that. I don't know if it was out of fear or to check if it was not a mistake, but we stayed motionless like statues without making a noise. Just looking at each other's faces, wondering the same thing. What was happening? As if I could know. Did I say that out loud? Pretty sure that was said out loud. We heard the steps again. They clearly belonged to a human, or at least to a large animal, but there's something strange about them. It sounds as if the person was just dragging one foot. Just thinking about it made me shiver. Why? I didn't quite hear that. I heard crunch, 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 crunch. Damn, why is this happening? It makes no sense. I mean, if you turned around and looked at it, it might make a little bit more sense. We should have returned home before, but now it's too late to regret it. That's not true. It's never too late to show regret. I have a feeling that we are being stalked by someone who's gimping with one leg, walking through leaves going crunch, 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 and not crunch, crunch, crunch. That's fine. The strange footsteps stop, but I'm still feeling the presence nearby. I don't know where it is, but I know that it's looking at me. That cursed thing is looking at me. I know it is, even though I'm not looking at it. My heart is beating anxiously. It's almost as if my body was telling me to get out of there. But strangely, my friends seemed unable to perceive it. They don't have a very high passive wisdom perception modifier. It seems that it's gone. It must have just been an animal, said one of them, convinced that we were safe. I would have liked to believe that too. We had a sigh of relief. However, bad luck would soon strike us again. I just know this. I just know this like it's a fact. Okay. Unexpectedly, the forest becomes darker than before in just the blink of an eye. But that wasn't the fault of the forest, but of our flashlights, which went out. Because, of course, every flashlight that runs on a battery has the same amount of charge. Of the three, only one, mine was still working. Okay, never mind. It was just those fucking idiots. It had nothing to do with me. What's going on? The parasite? Asked one of them, scared, while they both beat them desperately as if that was going to revive them. Stupid bastards. They should have just bought an iPhone, then they could have flicked the flashlight on. I can't blame them. The idea of walking in the darkness was not pleasant for anyone. I should say smartphone. You could do that on Android too. But after a few moments, we had no choice but to resign ourselves to that. Once more, the sound of our footsteps is heard. But the silence is different now. So, okay, I'm not even going to question that one. We are not quiet because we have nothing to say, but because we're afraid. Oh, that's what makes it different. It's not actually different. I can't tell if he's being like metaphorical or being like literal. Axel's kind of weird. We continue walking despite the fear that invades us. Visibility is almost zero, but we have no choice. In theory, we were walking back looking for the exit, but I cannot remember anything of this forest. We could be walking in circles, and I would never notice it till it's too late. Too late for fucking what, Axel? I hate the thought of it. I just want to get out of here. Suddenly, my thoughts are silenced. We hear the footsteps of someone or something. Once more, the three of us became statues, awaiting the presents to go. I hold my breath while feeling my heart beating anxiously. Damn. Get away from here and leave us alone. Unexpectedly, the steps are heard closer. This time they do not disappear, but rather come at us. Maybe it's because I just gave away my position like a fucking fool. I can't stand it. Desperately, I move my flashlight everywhere, looking for the author of those footsteps. Yeah? The author of those footsteps, huh? Hoping for the light to reveal their identity and erase our fears. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Is that all there is around here? Just empty air? My anxiety grows with each failed attempt. I refuse to believe that it was a ghost. Suddenly, when I move the flashlight again, I see a silhouette. I could not distinguish what it was, but for a moment, the light revealed something. Quickly, I point to the same place, only to discover it was gone, because of course it was. I hold my breath anxiously. It was not an illusion. I'm sure that I saw something. It was then that I hear something nearby. Without even thinking, I aim the light towards that place. You want to describe what that place looks like or something? What I found leaves us paralyzed with an expression of disbelief on our faces. It's a white cat. Look at this cat. I like how he's translucent. That's my favorite. Or maybe the fog's moving over him. It looks like it's being seen behind him, though. I hope I'm not the only one who thinks that. It's a white cat with eyes of an intense red which stands before us. Her look is not the friendliest, to say something. Somehow I get the feeling it's a female cat. Yeah, I was literally just thinking that. Suddenly, she lets out a thunderous meow that leaves us terrified. It sounded more like a lion roaring than a simple cat. The echo of her meow is heard throughout the forest, making it sound more sinister than it should be. It was then that suddenly an inexplicable force hits us three. I fall to the ground, and little by little my eyelids close. The fatigue becomes unbearable. I lose consciousness on the ground of the forest without knowing what was going to happen with me. That's typically how going unconscious works, Axel. Interlude before night falls. Huh? Okay. It is a day like any other, so normal that it was almost painful. The only special thing that could be said about it is that it's All Hallows Eve, also known as Halloween. Far were the memories when I was a kid and went out with my friends to ask for sweets from house to house. Just remembering it made me sigh. I feel nostalgic. Some things were better when I was a child, or at least seems like that. There were some who had good costumes, whether superheroes or monsters or sluts. My friends and I, on the other hand, had to use our imagination. Creativity was our costume, you could say, no matter how funny that could sound, and it does. It sounds really stupid. I remember that my mother once painted red my face and told me, "You will be the devil." But it seems only she saw it that way. When we went from home to home, everyone said I was the Tomato Man. But those things didn't matter to me, since we had always had a good time. If I asked for candy now, even if I had the best costume, I'm sure no one would give me anything. That's not true. Of course they fucking would. Nobody gives a fuck. Anyone who's not an asshole would still give you candy. Like, who cares? Except, perhaps, a scolding for acting like a child when I'm 17 years old. Yeah, that's not the case, dude. I went trick-or-treating with my friend and his little brother, and we got all kinds of candy. I mean, I think I was 16 or 17 or 18, somewhere in that range at the time. And granted, we were with kids, like, you know, chaperoning. They still gave us candy. You know, like, I don't know. You're a fucking fool, Axel. You're a fucking fool. But anyway, I can't stay in the past. I must live in the present, no matter how little exciting that might be. No matter how little exciting that might be. Nailed it. Back to reality, we are a group of friends who don't have any plans for today. We're still not old enough to go to a disco. Is that what you want to do? That's really random. And I doubt guys as us would have any luck in that environment. The other option would be to go to a party, meet girls, and have fun. Everything perfect, except that nobody invited us to a party because we're fucking retarded. Not being popular has its advantages. Disadvantages. Hey, Axel, let's have a couple matches, what do you say? My friend Steven called my attention while playing with the game console. The game console. Also, it could have just said Steven, and I would have known it was someone else. Rush Red, I believe that's what the game is called. A fast and quite complicated fighting game for me. I would normally agree to play with him, but for some reason I don't feel like I'm in the mood today. I have no desire to play your fucking tomfoolery right now. Go fuck yourself, Steven. I replied with discouragement. I almost feel bad for doing it. Boring, the AI is no rival for me, Steven said with confidence. That you're playing on normal difficulty does not help your argument. The fact that you're playing on normal difficulty does not help your argument? I guess, I don't know if that's technically still correct. It just sounded weird in my head. I've heard that illusion, but if you want to challenge to Alfred. Oh wait, I'm Axel. Whatever. I said, leading the attention to my other friend. I don't know how to play that, answered Alfred, doubting for a second. He is sitting behind the PC, but it seems that he isn't doing anything interesting. Just like Dylan right now, am I right? The screen only shows a lot of text. I think he is in Wikipedia. Hey, don't you have something more fun to do, like play Rush Red with our faggot friend Steven over here while I just sit over here moping? I asked with discouragement, without even thinking about what he was reading. Alfred looks at me surprised. The actual problem of society is that people are not interested in discovering their history. He is one of those pseudo-intellectuals always looking for any rare information to appear smarter than others. I know the type. When we forget our past mistakes, we're doomed to repeat them. He added later. I didn't listen to any of it. What are you talking about? This village is small and story's not interesting at all. You're right about that. Nothing outside the normal's ever happened in it. Alfred laughs mockingly after hearing that. Your influence is worthy of praise. Ignorant still admit that incorrectly, because he's a fucking idiot. He pauses, filling his chest with pride. The very fact it is a small town is the reason it's full of mysteries. Did you know that 20 years ago on this date a man disappeared? Because of course he did on Halloween. That's what Halloween is. It's bullshit. So, what about that? I ask without being impressed or even interested in the least. Things like that happen all the time in all places. In all places. People go missing all the time everywhere in the world. Don't forget that, kids. As I thought you don't know the history despite living in this very place, Alfred said while adjusting his glasses in an arrogant gesture. In that oh so common anime fashion, I assume. There's a legend behind this disappearance. That is what I was reading. Oh, this is leading up to the proper reason why we're in the forest, I think. Probably could have come to that conclusion sooner. After listening to him, I looked back at the computer screen with curiosity. It's then that I noticed that it was not Wikipedia, but some other page that isn't Wikipedia that I won't talk about or even try to describe. Come on, read this and learn a little, Alfred said, inviting us to read what was on the screen. Both Stephen and I moved closer to it. It's porn! Town of Abingdon, Oxfordshire, country, 1994. Hey, I was born in 1994. I came to this town with only 4,000 inhabitants to support them in an investigation. Never in my life have I... Truth is that never in my life have I seen something this strange. I won't say your typical detective-ish nonsense that I have seen thousands of strange things in my life. I've seen many crimes, yes, some difficult to solve, but all of them were human. Even if you don't know how they managed to perpetuate or perpetrate the perpetrate the crime, you know that they are people like anyone else. In this case, I don't think I'm able to say the same thing. Truth is that I can't understand what happened. I was called for the disappearance of a man named Matthew Graham, 23 years, single. The last time he was seen, he was returning home from a Halloween party. He had drank alcohol but was still sober, at least that's what the witnesses said. Anyway, this is not something which can be explained with simple drunkenness. He apparently got lost on the way home and decided to enter the forest called Oakwood. It had rained yesterday, so the ground was wet and muddy. We could easily find his traces, which were leading deep inside the forest. Apparently, he walked for 3 hours before stopping. I say stop, but the truth is that we don't know what happened then, because we weren't fucking there. The tracks suddenly ended up in a clearing in the forest, and that's all. There was no evidence of struggle, no other trace or pieces of clothing on the ground. There was no blood, no more footprints or anything else. The depth of his last footprints and the position they were in indicated that he was still walking. At no point he stood still. It was as if he had vaporized in the air. I like how there's no space between that and that because it probably would have wrapped onto the bottom line. I don't know why I noticed that. It was as if he vaporized in the air, with all his clothes in the middle of his walk. Obviously, I can't believe such a thing, but I can't give another explanation. The only thing I remember is that near the footprints I sensed a faint smell of rot. However, there were no animal corpses nearby. It is ridiculous to think he suddenly started to decay and became earth. Obviously, that's fucking ridiculous. Also, they did it again right here. I hope you guys can see my mouse cursor. It would be really awkward if I was doing that and then you couldn't. In the end, the case was closed in just 3 days. With no evidence of any kind, we couldn't say anything but that he decided to escape from the village. Yeah, he just teleported, whatever. However, while officially there was no more to do, I couldn't sleep in peace. Thinking about what could have happened to him took away my sleep. In my mind, I thought all sorts of theories, like maybe everything was a plan developed by Matthew, but in the end they all seemed impossible. I decided to investigate more on the issue. I searched the town for similar stories, and to my surprise I found 4 more, all young men. The story was always the same. They walked into the forest alone, disappearing without a trace. Even more curious is that all of them disappeared on the same date, October 31st, also known as All Hallows Eve, also known as Halloween, also known as today. But there is more, a detail that completely eliminates the possibility that there's a killer or a kidnapper behind this, and that is the separation of the years. Roger Bacon disappeared in 1924, Mitchell Smith disappeared in 1867, Jason Black 1813, and worst of all, Oswald Taylor disappeared in 1707. Simply couldn't be possible, except that it literally is possible that people could do that on that day on a different year from one another, and it could be possible. My curiosity led me to dig deeper. I thought that the answer may be in the past of the forest. It was then that I discovered what seemed to be a simple and boring forest actually hid a great story. Before it was called Oakwood, or Oaks Forest, the place was called Witchwood. The word witch, I think it's witch, wick, I don't know, has huge similarities with the word witch. It must be witch, I was right. Taking into consideration that it is an old name and the language changes over time, that indicates that it was the Forest of the Witches. I guess you could make that conclusion. Apparently more than 400 years ago, the people of the village believed witches lived in the woods. Unfortunately, almost all the information is already lost. They were stories told in voice without a properly written record. I just know that with the change of religion to Christian, people stopped seeing the witches with good eyes and began to hunt them. Apparently, the last one before her death cast a curse on the forest, which even today should continue to exist, because obviously curses are real. Anyway, obviously I cannot accept something like that as the answer, because I'm a rational human being, potentially. In the end, I have no other choice than accepting that each one of them escaped from the village, using the legend of the forest to make it look like it was something supernatural. Why does it have to be an escape? Are people not allowed to leave this village? Like, what the fuck? Alright. Interesting. I didn't know that such a story was hiding in this town. I said, honestly surprised. Even if it is a lie, it managed to hold my interest. I guess I could say the same. I guess I was invested in that. Wait, there's something more, Alfred said at the same time he scrolls to the comments. We read what is written there. A couple of comments caught all of our attention. Both of them talk about some creature. At that time, they felt a horrible fear for what could happen to them. Well, the two comments share great similarities, but they could have been written by the same person. There are many others that deny it. Looks like many people went to the forest because of the legend but couldn't find anything. I thought that you only read these things to look we were cool before the girl, replied Stephen as a joke. Alfred giggles a little, with a little shame. Partly, yes, he admitted it. That was a secret everybody silently knew. Well, if activity we're gonna go to the forest and be fucking retarded, Stephen said at the same time. He makes a face overflowing with enthusiasm. Excuse me, what are you talking about? I asked, completely lost, and I thought we were just killing time. Simple, let's go to that forest and get lost and fucking die today, Stephen replied without hesitation. He seemed really fascinated by the story. Are you insane? Said Alfred, unable to believe what he just heard. You only need to look at his face to know he didn't like the idea. I don't think any of us like the idea except for Stephen. He's an idiot. Despite everything you've heard, you want to go still? Of course, it would be a test of courage among us three, replied Stephen, full of confidence, perhaps too much. He should relax a little bit, don't you think? Don't tell me you're afraid, you fucking chicken. I mean, I'm not a chicken, don't you call me a chicken, answered Alfred. At the same time, he folds his arms, making a false gesture of security. It's more than obvious that you're afraid, Alfred. Almost as much as when you have to talk with a girl. All of the bringing up of girls kind of confirms this for me, that I picked the right genre of game. What about you, Ash? Don't tell me you won't come. Suddenly, Stephen asks me, at the same time looking at me mockingly. Don't tell me that you want to be the chicken for the group. I hate the tone of voice that he used. I hate the tone of voice he always uses. His voice is fucking retarded. Dylan, why did you do that? I will never give you that, I said without thinking, showing a confident smile and look. Well, let's not try more. Take a coat back. Stephen said, full of energy. Yeah! We three said in unison, as if we were going to have some kind of private party, not really knowing what we were doing or what we were going to find. 2:13 a.m. Actually, it's 5:48 p.m. Thank you very much. Don't mind me. Just getting a drink. Oh, we're back to the forest now. I awake, completely confused, not knowing how much time had passed. My head hurts like hell, but I can't blame it. Fortunately, the pain goes away quickly, just as my confusion does. Soon I come back to my senses. My flashlight is lying on the ground, shining towards the empty air. I immediately pick it up. It was my only protection against the darkness that surrounds me, and then I remember that the batteries were being wasted the whole time while I was unconscious for an indeterminate amount of time, and that Stephen and Alfred were with me. Stephen, Alfred, can you hear me? Without thinking, I scream their names in the dark while trying to find them with my flashlight, but there's no trace of them. They're gone. Where the hell are they? And what the heck just happened? I really don't understand anything. Shit, we should have stayed at home. This is not a proof of courage. We could be in danger. I have to find them. 2:19 a.m. It's been a whole 6 minutes. 6 minutes. The number of the beast. Little time has passed since I started to look for my friends, and I already can't stand this place. I'm going crazy in this forest. The darkness that covers it is unnatural. It is a darkness that steals your own sanity, replacing it with anxiety. To make it worse, the air is damp and cold, as in winter, carrying a strong rot smell, as if there were corpses of animals hidden throughout the forest. The atmosphere in this place is oppressive. With every step you take, it makes you feel more uncomfortable. Since I started to look for my friends, it felt that something is watching me, but there's nothing. I sigh with my voice full of frustration. I just want to get out of here. I continue walking, devoid of any hope. Like a shambling corpse. No matter where I look or how much I walk, I find nothing, and I cannot even hear the sounds of other animals. Rather, it seems they are already dead and rotting. No, I have to calm myself, I said to myself. I stopped for a moment to rest. I breathed deeply. But the rotten air of this place does me no good. Immediately, I started to cough, as if I had something stuck in the throat. Shit! Shit! What am I going to do? This cursed forest seems endless. And even if by miracle I could escape, I cannot abandon Stephen and Alfred. I really screwed up. Again, I sigh, feeling on the verge of tears. My frustration is building up, but I have to do my best to keep calm. If I fall into despair, then there is no doubt I will be joining the list of missing persons. In the end, I decided to just keep walking. Step by step, I should get somewhere eventually. At least I was convinced that staying in the same place would not do me any good. Pro tip. Breaking off here for a second. Pro tip. If you're lost, actually, it is a good idea to stay in one place because then a rescue party can find you more easily. Anyway, even if it was only to deceive myself, feeling that I am doing something, I wanted to continue walking. Okay then. That line of dialogue didn't make any sense. Well, I guess it wasn't. That line of monologue didn't make any sense. Time passes without any changes. Only the sounds of my footsteps can be heard. Knowing that as soon as you stop, you'll be surrounded by dead silence is good incentive to keep walking. But my legs were already hurting. Suddenly I hear a crack at my feet. Instantly, I take a step back and look. Bellow to see what made that... Oh, below. I see you. See what made that sound. What is this? I whispered to myself, surprised, discovering that I had stepped on an animal bone. I believe that's from an animal, although I do not rule out the possibility that it belongs to a person. That would still be an animal. But for my own good, I prefer not to think about that. An expression of anguish is drawn on my face. It is best to ignore it. I have to keep walking. Suddenly, my flashlight reveals something. Without hesitation, I point towards there again. There. Oh no. Only to realize with the surprise that it is the white cat. He's cute as hell. I hope he's not dead right now. The one from before, which made that awful meow, but this time I find it lying on the ground. It appears to be fainted and is wounded. Then what should I do? Oh, shit. Should I ignore the cat or should I pick up the cat? I'll pick up the cat. It is best to continue walk without waking her. That cat is dangerous. It's her fault that I ended up in this place and my friends are missing. But even knowing that, for some strange reason, I can't help but feel sorry for her. Even if it's unnatural, it's still an animal. I then bend down to see her closer. She's unconscious, and there's a thin line of blood coming from her mouth. I'm a real idiot, I said to myself. At the same time, I cleaned the blood from her mouth with a handkerchief that I had with me. Fortunately, she doesn't wake up. I then close her mouth, making her appearance a little better. Okay, now she seemed to be peacefully sleeping. After a long sigh, God damn it, I decide to pick her up carefully. I don't know what the powers of this cat are. It's a cat! But if she brought me here, maybe she can return me to my world. Why do you assume you're in a different plane of existence? With her in my arms, I decide that the best thing I could do is continue walking. That's what you decided earlier, too. Oh, look, it's been like 15 minutes or something. 14. No, 12. It was 19 before. 12, I think. Again, I find myself in the dark forest, walking aimlessly, only moving forward, but it didn't seem I was getting somewhere. In my arms, I carry the cat, which sleeps soundly. Come here, you'll be safe with me. I suddenly stopped. It was probably easy to see the disbelief on my face at that moment. It's that voice again, I whispered, sounding almost like Stephen for some reason, to myself with no one to listen to me. Shortly after I found the cat, a mysterious voice appeared in my mind. It was a feminine voice. Oh, I got it right. soft and gentle, as if it belonged to a princess from a fairy tale, but I can't trust it. Am I really going crazy, or is this forest that doesn't make any sense? I don't know, but I don't like any of the two options. I then feel the cat move in my arms. I look down at her, confused, just to see how she opens her red eyes suddenly. I became quiet at that instant. For a moment, the two stayed motionless, staring into the eyes of the other. The red eyes of the cat are disturbing to me, but also there is something fascinating about them, something that attracts me. I lose myself in her eyes as if hypnotized. Until suddenly she jumps with the intention of scratching at my face. My reflex is pushing her at the same time. I jump back, turning my head to dodge her claws. I managed to dodge her attack, but in the process I dropped my flashlight. I panicked and acted clumsily. The flashlight falls near me, lighting up a tray in the vicinity. As soon as it left my hands, I remember how dense this abnormal darkness is. I quickly pick it up, not even thinking before taking action. Okay. I then light the place where the cat was, only to discover she had arched her body angrily as if she feared an attack from me. Those red eyes stare at me, shining with the light of the flashlight as if they were jewels, reflecting a fearsome hatred and rejection towards me. My body freezes after seeing them. I can't even think. The cat then lets out a thunderous meow, similar to the one before, but weaker, although not any less frightening. There is no doubt there is something wrong with that animal. It must be cursed. Everything is her fault. Of course it is. She's a cat. Obviously, duh. She must be some kind of evil spirit, a pet of the witches. I feel how panic seizes me. My heart beats quickly, begging me to do something. My mouth is dry, my forehead is covered with cold sweat. What should I do? Nut up or shut up. But only after you save state. Confront the cat. No, I should not despair. I have to calm down and think carefully about what I should do. With that in mind, I take a deep breath and look again at her. Soon the expression in my eyes changes from fear to courage. I realize it is only a cat, without a doubt a strange one, but my life is not actually in danger. It's not like it's a tiger staring at me, but it's just a cat. Apparently her only power are those weird meows. If she could kill me, she would have already done it, so I rule out that possibility. Her work must be transporting the next victim to this area of the forest, so unnatural and shady. Or you could assume that it's unrelated and it's a cat. After filling my lungs with air, I slowly walk towards the cat. When people say filling my lungs with air, that's like a common phrase that I've actually heard a million times. I'm sure everyone has. But every time I read that, I imagine someone like literally taking handfuls of air with their hands and like shoving it into their mouth. And it's really dumb. But anyway. Her meow gets louder with every step, but I don't let them scare me. Seeing that I do not turn back, she shyly takes a step back. In my mind, I smiled at that image. The prey is now the hunter. I look at her directly while advancing. Little by little, her meows become weaker, as if she is losing strength. Then I suddenly jump and take her in my hands. She hardly resists at all. Not so tough now, right? You look better like this, you fucking cat. She's trembling in my hands. Look at that face. She looks so helpless that I almost feel like a villain. But I must not forget all that she's done so far. It's her fault that I'm in this place. It's not that I'm going crazy. She's a cat. Obviously she has crazy mind-melting hot dog transport power. She brought me here. Then if I kill her, would it be possible to go back? For a moment, that grim idea crossed my mind. I never killed an animal. Truth is that I can't be proud of myself in doing such a thing. But if I do, maybe this legend could end here and now. If I just kill this cat. But why would I kill that cat? That's fucking stupid when I could just say no and not kill the cat for no reason. It's only logical. The magic should die along with the cat. That should be my ticket back. If I kill her, everything would be over tonight and the legend would come to an end. Confident that it was for the best, I try to view it in my mind, but no matter how hard I force myself to see it, in the end I am unable to take the life of another living being. Even if it's a cursed cat serving a witch. It's all assumptions, by the way. I don't feel good killing her. I think I'm too nice for my own good, or that it's just a cat. So the only thing that remains is to keep her with me, hoping that sooner or later she allows me to escape. With nothing more than to think about, I decide the best thing to do is continue my path. God damn it, I see a trend in this storytelling right now. It's been a few minutes since I captured the cat. Again, I found myself walking with her, my arms led by the strange voice. How long have I been walking in this forest? Apparently not enough to make me go I'm pretty sure that that's not the case and that you are mad, but that's fine. Don't be afraid, come with me, I'll help you. The voice sounds closer this time. It seems that I'm going in the right direction. Or the wrong one. I don't fully trust in it, but it's the best I've got. At least at first glance it seems like a friendly voice. First glance, huh? I'm completely focused on my way when I suddenly feel something bite me. Is it the cat? Ah, what the hell? I shout in pain, realizing the cat bit my arm. Fortunately, it wasn't a dangerous bite, but it sure was painful. With my distraction, she takes a chance to jump from my arms, falling a few steps away from me. Quickly, I set my gaze upon her furious, But soon something happens that makes me forget about my own grammar. Suddenly, the cat is covered with a bright light. So much that it repels the unnatural darkness surrounding the forest, stealing my breath. Under the light, its figure gradually changes until it ceases to be a cat and becomes a human figure. No longer is there a cat in front of me, but instead a girl with incredible beauty. I must really be going crazy. Maybe I wasn't crazy all along. Maybe I just thought that it was the pet of a witch when it's really a witch. Some crazy she-druid. She has white hair and red eyes. Okay. I like that she's wearing a collar, choker thing. She seems about my age, because of course she has to be. In other circumstances, I would have asked her out without hesitation. Yeah? Is that so? Just thinking about it makes me laugh to myself in my mind. Even at the edge of madness, it seems some things about me will never change. She approaches slowly towards me, one step at a time, with no fear. The girl then stares into my eyes with a slightly irritated face. Her lips are moving. She seems to be saying something, but I am unable to hear a sound. Are you trying to tell me something? I babble, still confused, with a face of disbelief, which surely made me look stupid. ... said the girl, with a very low voice. I do not understand what she's saying. I literally can't hear you, I said, still confused. Suddenly, the girl pouts in a bad mood. What's so wrong with you? Are you deaf? Finally, I could hear her clearly, and just in time, because it seems her patience was about to end. Okay, now I can hear you, I said, annoyed. All of my astonishment from just a few seconds ago disappears when I see the arrogant attitude of this girl. At least now I don't think she'll bite me, I hope. The girl then snorts with irritation. What an annoying guy I had to find, she said at the time. She places a hand on her lips, making a pensive face. Wait, you shouldn't speak ill of someone you've... Wait, you shouldn't speak ill of someone you have right before you. Yeah, exactly. You tell her. I was quick to respond. For a moment, I feel annoyed at the thought that I have to teach manners to this spirit or whatever she is. I'm pretty sure she's a crazy druid lady. A pity, so much beauty wasted on someone so arrogant. Wow. The girl let out a snort of annoyance after hearing me. I'm sorry, it's a bad habit that I can't quit, she answered without sounding very repentant, clearly a false apology. After talking, she diverts her gaze towards the surroundings as if she was bored. I see. I reply annoyed. I just met her and I already feel like I don't like her. But anyway, that doesn't matter. I must not forget who this girl is. You know, the whole part about how you just met and already you don't like her, maybe that's why you don't see somebody, look at them, say, hey, they're hot, and then try to ask them out. back to what he was saying before. She was the cat that started it all. Anyway, the least you could do is tell me why you attacked me and my friends. I tell her shortly after, acting more seriously. The greetings were over. It's time to get to the important stuff. Are the greetings over? We're not even on a name basis. And why did you bite me if I wasn't doing anything? Before I knew it, my lips are move, asking another question. I cannot lie, I was angry. The girl then stares in my face. Are you fucking retarded? She blinks with curiosity before speaking. Does it hurt? The wound? She asked innocently. Yeah. I was quick to respond. I'm literally the least annoyed person ever. It was a cat that bit you. Calm the fuck down. I didn't need to say more. Of course it hurts me, stupid fucking faggot cat. She looks at me in silence for a few seconds until suddenly she approaches me without any shyness or fear. On second thought, how could a simple human such as me scare a cat that could turn into a person? I don't know. Just because you could turn into a person doesn't mean that you're... The fact that she could turn into a person literally makes me... Like, that puts us on an equal playing field, doesn't it? Like, maybe she's just afraid because she's afraid? Show me your wound, said the girl once she stood right next to me. Her presence makes me nervous. This girl seemed to not know what personal space is. As embarrassing as it sounds, oh my god. I don't know why. I shouldn't trust her, but strangely something tells me that she has no bad intentions. Maybe it's because she just asked you if you warned her, so then it's trying to look at it. The girl is surrounded by a calm aura, something pure unlike anything else in this forest. Contrary to my exact thoughts about her when she was a cat. In the end, resigning myself with a sigh, I show her my arm with the bite. Immediately the girl sets her sight on my wound. It'll only take a moment, she said with complete confidence. Then she looks up into my eyes up. Could you close your eyes? She asked as she blushes slightly. I'm surprised to see that embarrassed face she has, even if just a little. Then I sigh, feeling something wasn't right, but there's nothing else I can do. Okay, I said, doing what she asked. I didn't know what to expect. For a moment I thought she'd get naked or something like that. Yeah, that's just how it works. That's just how it works. God damn it. Why can't they make relatable main protagonists? Like in any game ever. But what kind of magic can work only when you have no clothes? I don't know. Slut magic. But my mind sure wanted to imagine that. Of course it did. You're Axel, after all. Come on, Axel, keep your composure. Suddenly I feel something warm. Jesus Christ. Immediately I shudder. Wait, what are you doing? It's a stupid question because I knew well what she was doing. She was licking the wound. I mean, what did you think was going to happen? You idiot! Who said you could watch? She was quick to respond. She was quick to respond to the cat. With her cheeks red in embarrassment and her lips still close to my wound, she looked adorably troubled. Don't you see that? I'm just trying to hail you. She then added in a bad mood. Sorry? I said, blushing. I thought you would do something more extraordinary. Now I'm not sure. Is she a girl that could transform into a cat, or a cat that could become a girl? You know, I don't think it matters at this point. I think you should be thinking about other things than what she looks like without the dress on, and whether or not she's a cat or a person. It doesn't fucking matter right now. Sorry to disappoint. You're not being extraordinary enough. Sorry to disappoint you not being extraordinary enough. There you go. Murmured the girl at the same time she gives me an annoyed look. Red eyes shining with disgust. It is then that I realized that the pain had disappeared. With curiosity, I look where the wound was, only to discover that there is now no trace of it. For a couple seconds, I stay silent, incredulous. It seems that your treatment worked, I finally said, grateful, still looking at that spot. Of course it worked. I've experience with healing myself. answered the girl, closing her eyes and inflating her chest to show pride. Just imagine, like, inflating it like a car tire. I actually appreciate what she did, but I still wonder if she really had to lick it to cure me. Well, I mean, why do you think... Why wouldn't she then? Why would she do that in the first place if she didn't have to? I understand, but who are you? Oh, I can scroll back. That's nice. The girl makes a small snort with curiosity after hearing my question. Then she tilts her head and closes her eyes, making a thoughtful face. It seems I have not presented myself. She opens her eyes and gazes into mine. My name is Ashley. So that's her name. I expected something more extravagant. You were just thinking, maybe she's a cat that turns into a girl and not the other way around. But if that was the case, why would she have an extravagant name? Do cats pick super extravagant names? Is that a thing? I don't understand this character at all. My name is Axel. By the way, have you ever been accused of witchcraft? Before I knew it, I asked the dumbest question imaginable. I guess it was rather rude of me, completely lacking in manners. But I must not forget, for even a second, that I'm in this cursed forest. Ashley suddenly becomes silent. At plain sight, it was obvious she didn't take it well. Of course not. You don't ask a witch if they know witchcraft or if they've been accused of it. She takes her time before responding. Yes, but that was a long time ago. Then she closes her eyes and exhales, emptying her lungs completely so that she could fill it back up with her bare hands later. She seemed to be recalling something painful. Just seeing her made me feel guilty. I'm sorry, it was not my intention to make you remember it. I said, slightly remorseful. No doubt, to be accused of witchcraft must have been a horrible experience. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Ashley closes her eyes and nods a couple times. It's okay. It's not like I could blame your curiosity, seeing where we are. Then she looks at me closely with curious eyes. By the way, how do you know about me? Perhaps you're a sorcerer who has lived during these past centuries? Perhaps with a draconic bloodline so that you could control your magic more easily without it just spurting out and, like, blowing shit up and killing your entire party of 4 adventurers? She asked, narrowing her eyes as if she was trying to see the inside of my mind. What kind of question is that? I don't know. It seems pretty much exactly like the question you just asked her that started this conversation, Axel. No, nothing like that, I answered at the moment. I'm just an ordinary person. I omitted boring, but she didn't need to know that. Wow. Self-aware then. It's just that there are stories about witches in this forest, but as you can see, the stories are not very convincing, or else I wouldn't be here. I explained, trying to remove any doubt that Ashley may have. Again, she closes her eyes and nods. I understand. She pauses and looks me in the eyes. It's because of those stupid myths that stupid humans come to this forest just like you. She then said, looking at me with rejection. Wait, what are you trying to say? We're the people to blame? I replied, feeling offended. Ashley suddenly looks at me disgusted. Are you an idiot? I love favorite character. Favorite character. Yes, if you hadn't come, my existence would be nice and peaceful instead of this chaos that it is every year. She said, ending with a sigh of frustration. But you're the one who caused all of this, I was quick to respond. I don't even bother to hide my anger. I can't believe what she says. How arrogant can she be? Ashley opens her eyes wide, surprised. Then she looks at me with an annoyance in her red eyes. Do you not understand, you stupid fuck? I definitely love this girl. I'm only trying to protect you, you stupid, ignorant piece of shit. Her words take me by surprise. Huh? I exclaimed incredulously. You attack me and attack my friends only to protect us? Yes. She simply replied. At the same time, she nods, filled with pride and confidence. Okay, that's it. I'm getting out of here. I cannot believe how arrogant and self-centered this girl is. After everything she did to me and my friends, I can't stand her any longer. Wait! I'd only taken a few steps when I heard her calling to me. She sounds really worried. You don't understand the real danger you're in here. I stop in my tracks as soon as I hear her. Real danger? Real danger, I whispered, feeling some doubts. Suddenly, I shiver. It doesn't look like she's lying. Yes, I try to chase them away using illusions. Other times, I hit them with my powers. And as a last resort, I scare them directly, as it was in your case. Ashley confessed, blushing a little as if she felt embarrassed for remembering. Why would she feel embarrassed? Like, who cares? That's fine. And why do you do that? She just told you that. To protect you. Jesus. I asked, confused. Something isn't right here. Ashley stares at me with her red eyes. If they continue with their curiosity, they'll meet an evil entity that will take their lives. Whoops. What you say doesn't sound very convincing. Dude, you just watched her transform from a cat into a human. How is that not convincing enough? I immediately interrupted. The only evil entity here is you. Ashley shakes her head in denial. Well, actually, you're wrong. I'm the good one here. You're a fucking idiot. And then she said, looking into my eyes with a pure innocence in hers. Ha ha ha. I could only laugh at that comment. It had to be a joke. After doing all that, you say that you're good? Don't laugh. I'm trying to protect you, you fucking dumb baka. Replied Ashley, furious, while waving her arms. She then crosses her arms and gives me an unpleased look. Do you expect me to believe that? I replied sarcastically. What she said made no sense, but somehow she seemed oddly convinced it was the truth. She was surely a bit wrong in the head. Yeah, it's definitely her, Axel. It's not you at all. But it's true. You have to believe me. I mean, I do. This time she sounds really worried about me. I actually feel a little sorry for her. Ashley then stays silent, looking at me with puppy eyes. However, she soon recovers her proud attitude. If you want, hold my hand. I won't harm you. He suddenly says. I look carefully at her. She has a very arrogant face, as if it was a great honor to be able to touch her. You won't do anything strange? I like how he's totally on board with that. He's like, you know what? If I get to touch her, then maybe I won't leave. What the fuck, Axel? Such an asshole. I asked, distrustful, but after seeing her again, I did not think she was lying. Ashley nods, full of confidence. I promise you. I stare at her for a few seconds, making sure there isn't a trap. Okay, but why do you want me to hold your hand? I ask at the same time as I extend my hand. She opens her eyes, surprised after hearing my question, and stares at me with annoyance. Are you stupid? Obviously so I could guide you the fuck out of my forest, you dumb fuck. She said, just as she takes my hand in one quick move. I then find myself being dragged by this strange girl. But this is the opposite way from where the Meliodas voice comes. Why do you think that that's a good thing? What about a voice that says, come to me, I'll protect you, and goes, in the back is, what about that is, oh god. I say, looking back for a second, I felt really curious about who she was. You ignore that voice. That's just this dumb other fuck. It charms men to make them her victims. Oh, that was right. Think of it like a siren. Ashley explained in a bad mood with her eyes, always looking to the front. It seems she didn't get along well with whoever that person or entity was. Wouldn't you be the one who collects the souls of the fools? I asked without thinking. Wow, what an asshole! Oh my god! I seriously need more experience when dealing with this person. Whoops. If only I were more popular. Yeah, that would help. That would definitely help, you fucking idiot. Ashley stops suddenly. She then turns at me, showing me a furious face. You fucking idiot! I already said I'm the good one. She just keeps reaffirming that he's a fucking idiot. Reaffirming. For a moment, I thought she was going to hit me on the head. But fortunately, she stopped before doing so, or biting me again. I wish that she would bite you again, you fucking... Okay. I meekly responded as if I were a scolded child. But if you eat me, I'll make sure to give you the worst indigestion in your life. I don't eat humans, you fucking idiot. I eat kibble. Replied Ashley, ending with an arrogant snort. 311. For fuck's sake. Alright.